The winds of change are sweeping through the Eagles coaching staff. Kevin Patullo fired as OC January 13th. Little more than 2 weeks later, Sean Mannion hired as Patullo's replacement. That was January 29th. Then 2 days ago, February 4th, Jeff Stoutland leaves the Eagles after 13 seasons as offensive line coach and, throughout much of that time, run game coordinator. Huddle up. We welcome you to Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Barrett Brooks, Michael Barkan. The NFL season reaches its climactic conclusion Sunday night in Super Bowl 60. Seahawks, Patriots, Barrett. The Eagles squandered their opportunity, unfortunately, to go back-to-back. How frustrated are you that they won't be playing on Sunday?
I'm still very frustrated because I think that they have the talent to go to the bowl. They didn't, because they didn't execute. They didn't do the things they need to do to make it to the dance. And I'm still feeling kind of a little shaky. And I'm like, why aren't we there? I should be in California right now covering an Eagles Super Bowl, but I'll be here watching at my house.
You know why I'm not that frustrated? Because when the playoffs began, the Eagles were so far from the team they were last season and that thought of back-to-back that we knew the elevator would stop short of that top floor, and it wasn't going to happen. And I'm almost glad that if they were going to get bounced, it was right off the bat. And don't take me to the NFC Championship game to do it, let alone the Super Bowl.
Yeah, don't delay it. As we got closer and closer to the end, we figured out that the offense was never going to get back on track. The offense was never going to pull their weight on the team. The defense, if you gave them a little time, they would have came up front and been a means in which we could have won the Super Bowl. But the offense just couldn't get right.
All right, so let's talk about the offseason Eagles, the 2026 Eagles. Tonight's three-point stance, presented by Toyota. Stance number one, you can add Landon Dickerson to the list of Eagles offseason question marks. The Philadelphia Inquirer and NFL Network both reporting that Dickerson's future is uncertain. He's 27 years old, just completed his fifth NFL season, three-time Pro Bowler. But he's dealt with a long list of injuries during his NFL career and his college career. This past season, that included knee and back injuries. Barrett, we've seen a number of NFL players retire young due to injury, and you, in particular, are well aware of the toll that playing offensive line takes on the body. Your thoughts on whether an early retirement could be in Landon Dickerson's future?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think so, but you just never know. I just know at the end of the season, after that last gun goes off and you're sitting back, and for that first week that you're off, it's like, man, why do I play this game? I mean, why do I go out there and subject my body to all this contact? Man, they say that each NFL play for an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman is equivalent to a 20-mile-an-hour car wreck. So when you put that in perspective, after 17 games and not including the practices, and 18 for the Eagles, your body takes a toll. So you're not going to be feeling good. You don't feel good until like a month later. But during that time of the month, you get closer towards that month that you're off, then you got to start, all right, I got to get it back going again. Then you start thinking, man, can I go out there and run? Get up early in the morning, lift weights, and then go run. Then later that night, do a little cardio, and you maybe run some more, considering, that you're an offensive lineman. You got to keep your weight down. Then you got to go out there and eat the right foods. You can't go on vacation because you got to make sure you're getting ready for the season next year. All these things start factoring in. Then you got a kid. You're looking at your kids like, I want to play with my kids. Can't play with my kids. Like, I got to work out. Then there's going to be camp coming around. All these things factor into it. So when I watch, I see guys like that. I came out with a guy named Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli was all-world, all-pro, Pro Bowler, great player, Hall of Famer, and he retired at 29. Then I look at Ali Marpet from Tampa Bay, another offensive lineman. He retired at 28. It's so much contact and the physicality of being in the, in the trenches. It just makes you and puts you at a point like, all right, I'm tired of this. I'm ready to just hang it on up. But after you start seeing these young guys come out, you see the draft coming, and you start talking to your boys, and Lane Johnson gives them a call like, hey, man, what's up, bro? We going back or what? Let's give it another cry. Let's go out and do it. Yeah. So, you eventually talk yourself back into it. But right now I feel every single thing, every single bump, bruise that he has. I mean, he was held together by duct tape and bubble gum. I mean, he was the worst. I mean, I put it like this. I was at a restaurant bar with those guys. And as I was sitting there watching them get up and down, I mean, him, Jordan Mailata, all those guys, Cam Jurgensen, they were trying to get up. Once they get up, I can remember those days having to hold on to the rail and get myself up. Their body takes a toll, and right now they're feeling it. But eventually, you know, it comes back, and you'll be able to play again. I think he'll be back.
All right, Dave Zangaro covers the Eagles for NBC Sports Philadelphia, and Dave was among the reporters who interviewed Landon Dickerson following the Eagles' playoff loss to the 49ers, and you can hear the frustration in Dickerson's voice discussing his injury-plagued 2025 season. The interview begins with Dickerson asked if he plans to approach this offseason any differently in an effort to stay healthy.
And how do you address that from here? I mean, do you have to approach the offseason different than?
You know, if I had an answer for that, I'd probably feel a lot better.
How hard is it to play when you're not 100%?
It sucks.
Man, was this one of the toughest years of your career?
Yeah.
Barrett, react to those remarks from Landon Dickerson.
His last statement. It sucks. Your body just hurts. And he already had these injuries stemming from college. You know, and the reason why he's like that is because he plays the game so physical. The thing that highlights you and makes you the player that you are is how you play the game. And he plays the game so damn physical that your body's going to take a toll. You're your own worst enemy because you want to go out there and maul people, and all in all, your body's getting mauled while you're doing it. Long story long, that's what's going on. It's just a long season. It's a long, time that you're beating up on your body. It doesn't lead to long careers.
All right, moving on to our second stance tonight. The Eagles' offensive line is in serious flux. It's a unit that's been the Eagles' strength in recent years, but with the departure of legendary O-line coach Jeff Stoutland and the uncertain futures of Lane Johnson and now Landon Dickerson, Barrett, what's your level of concern about the O-line moving forward? Can the Eagles withstand losing Stoutland, Johnson, and Dickerson?
No. If those three guys don't come back, it'll be a very long season. We already know one of the three are not coming back. Coach Stout is gone. So then you look at Lane. Lane's like, man, I've only been coached by this guy. He's the only voice that I know. Papa gone now, what am I going to do? And now Landon's like, man, he's the only guy that I've listened to also. He made me the player that I am. Who's going to be the offensive line coach? Who's going to come in? Who's going to be that voice for him? That's what we don't know. How is this coach going to come in? Are we going to get along with him? Can they hear him? And the biggest thing as an NFL player, what you want, can this coach make you better? That's the biggest thing. Can he make you better? We don't even know who the coach is yet, so we don't know that. They don't know that. So that's why there's so much indecision on those guys right now with Lane and Landon.
All right, third stance tonight. Make no mistake, this is Sean Mannion's offense moving forward. The new offensive coordinator is revamping the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball. And as we know, Ryan Mahaffey replaces Jeff Stoutland as the run game coordinator. More changes will certainly follow. Barrett, after what we saw last season, we wanted change. We're getting it with Sean Mannion. Are you confident it will be changed for the better?
I don't have any confidence right now because I don't know Mahaffey. I don't know Mannion. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they like. I don't know what they want to coach. At this point, it's just up in the air. I'd be wrong for me to go out and tell everybody, oh, this is going to be a great thing. You know what I mean? Oh, what I do know, I know all the fingers will be pointed to him if it doesn't work. But all the praise will be pointed to him if it does work. So, he's got to go out there and show and get the confidence, not of us as people on the outside, but can he get that locker room? Can he get those guys to buy in? Can he get AJ to buy in? Smitty to buy in? Can he get that offensive line to like their coach and buy in to their concepts of how they're going to run the ball, how they're going to pass the ball? Who's going to be the tight end they're going to be throwing to? All this stuff is in the air. So, hey, man, he's got his work cut out for him, but, hey, he wants it all. So right now he's the chef. They're giving him all the ingredients. He's got to cook.
In their heart of hearts, do you think they got the guy they wanted at OC with Sean Mannion, with Mike McDaniel going to Los Angeles and the Chargers, Brian Daboll out of the equation, going to the Titans? Do you think Sean Mannion is a guy they would have ended up with anyway?
I can't really say yes or no because they've always got the unpopular pick. So this is an unpopular pick. So I think it may be who they wanted, but it wasn't, the first pick that they want. I know that for sure.
All right, Sean Mannion's the guy. The next installment of our Stay or Go series details the tight end position. We're reviewing the Eagles roster position by position to determine who's back next season and who's out. Tonight is the tight ends. 3 Eagles tight ends who saw game action in 2025 are eligible for free agency this offseason. Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and Kylen Granson. Let's begin with the big name, Barrett, Dallas Goedert. We thought he might not return last offseason, including the playoffs. He scored 13 touchdowns in his 8th season in an Eagles uniform. He's coming off a 1-year contract restructure worth $10 million plus. Barrett, Dallas Goedert, stay or go?
I think he's gone. I think he played his way to a higher contract. It's not like they don't want him here. Of course he wants him here. That's, I always say it all the time. A quarterback's best friend is a tight end. And when you have a good tight end, he can help you out a lot. He's the one that, forces Jalen to throw the ball in the middle of the field. He's right there. He makes himself available. And I love his run after the catch. So everybody else loves that also. So he's probably a top 10 tight end. But he's probably the best of the tight ends without going through that hasn't been to a Pro Bowl. He is the best of them.
Worth it to bring him back?
Well worth it to bring him back. But will he want to come back on that type of coin? I doubt that seriously. They're going to want to give him a little money. He's going to take the money. He's got to take the money. He'd be foolish not to take the money.
All right, then there's Grant Calcaterra. He's been Dallas Goedert's backup the last 4 seasons. He was the Eagles' 6th-round pick in 2022. Criticism of Calcaterra: can't block. Grant Calcaterra, Barrett, stay or go?
Well, that criticism right there is something that's keeping him from being one of the top tight ends. He can catch everything you throw to him. He's a threat in the seam routes. He's a threat in the middle of the field, where, get the ball to him. But he's just not a threat when he's lining up. When you're tight end, you have to block. That's one of the positions where you're almost like an offensive lineman and receiver. You're just a, hybrid of both of them. But you got to be able to block.
Especially with your line injured, right?
And with this system, they're going to need a lot of tight ends because, if you look at the teams that are pretty good at that system, they got 2 tight ends that are very, very good. You look at Green Bay, you look at the Rams, look how many tight ends they use. They use 13 personnel, 1 running back, 3 tight ends. Even the, 49ers, all those guys use a lot of tight ends, but you got to be able to block. So I don't know if they necessarily want to bring him back, but I think they would because he'll get a hometown discount because he hadn't shown enough, to other people that he can garner the money that other tight ends are getting at that point.
Yeah, I know there's a tight end that you're high on coming out in April's draft. Might the Eagles take a flyer on a tight end high in the draft?
That's Kenyon Sadiq right there. My favorite player in the draft. I want the Eagles to go get him at the number 23 pick. He's 6'3", 245, 250 pounds. Looks like Tarzan, plays like Tarzan. Only thing about him, he's a little short, like he's 6'3". But last year, his best year was his sophomore year. He was more of a blocker. He was the second team tight end on the squad, and he was more of a refined blocker. But he can block. He can go out there and catch. He's a great athlete. He's bigger than safeties and cornerbacks, so it'll be hard for them to guard him. And he outruns most linebackers, so they're not going to be able to keep up with him. He's got to make sure that he concentrates more on catching the ball a lot. But at the end of the day, he's somebody I want the Eagles to pick up in the first round.
Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. That is stay or go. Sad news to pass along now. Former Eagles quarterback and Pro Football Hall of Famer Sonny Jurgensen has passed away at the age of 91. The Eagles drafted Jurgensen out of Duke with the 43rd overall pick in the 1957 draft. That was a 4th-rounder back then. He spent his first 7 NFL seasons with the Eagles before spending his final 11 seasons in Washington. Jurgensen was the Eagles' 4th-round pick in 57. He backed up Norm Van Brocklin on the 60 championship team, became the starter the next season after Van Brocklin's retirement. And Jurgensen then made the Pro Bowl in 1961. He threw 32 touchdowns that season, a team record that stood 56 years until Carson Wentz broke it in 2017. The Eagles traded Sonny Jurgensen to Washington in 1964 for quarterback Norm Snead. Jurgensen went on to make 4 more Pro Bowls with Washington. Then he spent 38 years as a broadcaster for the Redskins following his retirement as a player. The legendary Sonny Jurgensen passes away at age 91.